pricing. And then for the last 4 years or so, it's been a very, we would call a soft market, which means none of my customers have been seeing rate increases other than the things that we can't control. Your experience mod goes up and your payrolls go up. That's outside of our control. You buy additional vehicles. That's outside of our control. My customers are seeing level reduced pricing in the areas that we can control, which is your base rate. What you do from an exposure standpoint, that's going to work through from a metric standpoint. One of the things that we continue to do is look for various options of improvement. Remember, our municipal program has been in place for over 20 years. And what we've seen, and it's a statewide program, we may see a claim in northern Wisconsin. We'll take that experience to modify our program. I just touched on a couple of the things that we have here. This year, for the first time, we're offering at no cost an option to purchase your umbrella should you find a claim to exhaust those limits. Now, Wisconsin, considering you have a $50,000 cap on liability and a $250,000 auto, and that is held up for a number of years, it's highly unlikely that you will have a claim that will touch the $5 million that we're looking at. But should you have that claim, we agree up front to sell you another $2 million. Basis, which means if we're halfway through the year, you pay half the premium. It's just a way of us to say to you, we want to make sure there's never any question as to the liability limits that we are providing to you. We're also offering a number of improvements in our public officials policy. These are areas that we've been visiting with our market on and asking them to address. We have policy limits for back wages, for personal injury. We have third-party wrongful acts in the event that one of your employees is harassing someone else's on your property. These are all enhancements to the program, things that we've added over the last year as we've dealt with municipalities of Wisconsin. On the next page, you'll see our umbrella does ride over our general liability, our auto liability, and our professional coverage. It does not ride over the public officials. I've given you options of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 million. You can choose which of those you feel are the most appropriate. We are seeing claims from the public officials. The majority of those claim dollars are expense dollars. I can't tell you if a $5 million aggregate for all lines of insurance will pay more than a $3 million auto and a $3 million. What I can tell you that is in the state of Wisconsin, in the 34 years that I've done insurance for municipalities, I have not seen a claim exceed $1 million, primarily because of the caps we have in place of the $50,000 for liability and the $250 for auto. And I've been with insureds of mine that have had catastrophic auto claims, and the cap has held up, so I think it's a very sound program to be. We do not have a deductible on our general liability. We do not have a deductible on our auto liability. We do not have a deductible on your police profession. And one of the things that I showed Kathy was a review of your claims for the last 5 years. And you have paid in excess of $25,000 on deductibles. We do have a deductible for our public officials policy, but we do not have deductibles for the other lines. Looking at that claim that Kathy provided to me, I saw 3 claims that were public officials related, one of which had a payment on it. I think it's important to look at that because we do not have a deductible that you've been paying around $5,000 to $6,000 a year for some of those support lines. Again, it's not making community insurance go good or bad, it's just a different way of looking at it. Our deductible for our workers' compensation is a level deductible. It pays ad audit, which is 60 days after your expiration, and it's a flat dividend. It's not responsible, it's not based on your claims, it's a level dividend that we paid at audit. A little bit farther on, you'll see some of the information. What I can tell you, since '74, when I started with Wausau, we have never not paid our flat dividend, and for the amount that we projected. And that's a history that we're very proud of. Safety training, loss prevention, those are all things that we provide through our agency and also through our carrier. We have on-site loss prevention in Milwaukee. We also have an 800 number. If you have a question in regards to anything that's loss responsive or loss control, you can call that 800 number and visit with those folks. They work normal hours, so there's no issue on that. A couple other things quickly, and I do appreciate your time. The premium summaries there, that's obviously been taken care of. There's some information on our dividends. This was just for a 3-year period, just for $100. I wanted to hopefully give you a comfort level that when you look at our dividend, it is very likely that we're going to pay it because we have always paid it. And the last is a list of my customers. These are the individual municipalities that, as an agent, that I work with. And I gave you 2 things. I gave you obviously the name of it, and I also gave you the inception date. What I'm hoping to let you have an idea to look at is, does Wausau rotate our customers on a regular basis, or do they stay with us? Most of my customers that have been with me, I think on average, I took it's about 7.5 years. And that includes the 2 I wrote last year, so they kind of pull my average down. We are committed to a fair premium, but it has to be a premium that's going to be profitable. That's how we priced it, and we're committed to providing services to make us a very good insurance buy for your village. And I appreciate your time and the opportunity.
Comments or questions for either of the speakers?
Both companies obviously are very reputable. A while back we were with Wausau, and I can't remember, there was some concern we had with them a number of years ago. I don't recall what that was.
I think there's probably, when we changed to community, there was two levels of concern. One was price. At that time, Wausau was higher, but the other issue that I was concerned about was their level of effort and their capabilities to help us manage risk as far as workman's comp and those types of things. They started out really strong with that. Like I said, they've been our insurance company for almost 10 years, but that had kind of waned. Municipal risk is peculiar risk. It's not, we do things that a lot of people don't do. So we're looking for somebody that would help us manage that outside of hiring out and creating a department of risk management. And so at the time, that was one of the, we felt, and I think it bore out, is one of the strong points of the community was that they had a very aggressive program in that area. I think the difference in prices last year was less than $5,000.
Yeah, around $5,000. Wausau was cheaper than community.
Yeah, and at that point, given the efforts that they were making in the workman's comp area, my recommendation to Kathy's was to stay with community. And I think when you look at that chart, it shows what we were able to keep bringing the mod down is worthwhile. That being said, $34,000 is $34,000. That Wausau has given us indication that they can carry out the goals we have for maintaining, helping us maintain our risk at low levels and keep our experience levels down. And I guess we will see with that within a year. We're fortunate, and we have two good carriers proposing. I don't know if people realize that, but there is not a lot of insurance companies beating the door down to insure municipal governments. Typically, that was hard to get quotes on. So then we've had two good companies build this. So that's, and I guess that's a long answer to the question, but it's really what brought that about.
Kathy, what was the estimate during the budget process for insurance this year?
The estimate is based on no dividends being paid. We budgeted throughout the village, Recplex and utilities, almost $424,000. So we're looking at almost $100,000 difference.
And this graph is kind of interesting. I would hope that if it is Wausau that it gets the bid, that we expect the same results.
Well, that's my hope. I mean, I don't think Wausau would have a flat line. That would be disappointing. But we expect them to work with us and to keep that going down. That in a way that's difficult. We had an employee that was in a village vehicle who was going through an intersection, and he was broadsided by a truck that ran a red light. That's an incredible, event that he had no control over, and he can't help. And it's going to affect our, that in some ways, depending on how that works out, that's going to drive our experience. Some things we can't help. Some things Wausau or community can't help. But it's managing the things that we can manage and not creating preventable problems. And that's where we want to be. But